And I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cole.
I guess we're gonna do an introduction every time in case somebody's like just watching it for the first time. But anyways, so we said like we obviously have our videos out there now, like our Kentucky to Oklahoma, a little bit about us, Cole's testimony, my testimony, and so this is like gonna be like our first advice piece, I guess. Our dog's messing with the camera. He thinks he's the cameraman.
He's
Chuck.
the director.
He's like, yeah. So, anyways, this advice piece is something like, you kind of hear it all the time, but you don't really believe it until like you've been there for a little bit. But it's you are who you hang with, and it's so true because, like, I'm gonna use him as an example. He hung out with
degenerates.
One of our professors would call them harlots too.
True.
But he hung out with like people that did drugs.
I call them hussies.
Hussies, oh gosh. Drugs, drank, watched pornography, and that's who he was. But then like as soon as he like stepped away from them,
put some distance in there.
College, he stopped. And I'm not gonna say like it was an instant like bam, done, finished. But it was definitely like a drastic change. But also, like, I think there's this beautiful story in the Bible that I do use a lot for reference when me and Cole are having conversations about, like, deep things. Like, can you intercede prayer for your friends? But, like, intercede...
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, gosh. Now you make me feel weird. But anyways, do you want to talk about the story? Do you want me to? I feel like I'm doing all the talking.
That's how it goes. You talk and then I add accents when they're needed.
But in this story, Jesus is at a house, talking to the people, giving his parables as he does. And there is this man that his friends are like, if he can get to Jesus, I know he'll be healed.
The dude's a paralytic, so he can't walk for himself. So they're carrying him.
And they can't get through this crowd because this crowd is so massive. And this one friend's like, what about the roof? And they're like, yep, sounds good. And, I mean, roofs weren't exactly like what they are now, but I'm sure they had to do...
I wouldn't say they're anything like they are now. What do you mean?
Me, just shingles in the Bible times. I'm sure it was there.
It's fine.
It actually was, guys. But anyways, I don't think plywood was a thing yet. I don't know. What?
You're a mess.
But they had to like rip stuff off, I'm sure, and lower their friend in. And Jesus said, because of your friend's faith, you were healed. And you can read this in the Gospels, Matthew, Luke, Mark, and John. I almost forgot one.
I like that. Muke for Matthew, Luke.
Stop it. But it's a piece of advice that like your parents are going to tell you, people at school are going to tell you. And I can say, like, until you've seen it, until you've been there, you won't believe it. But coming from two people in their 20s, I think it's, like, a huge piece of advice we can give you really early on in our channel is you are who you hang with. If you want to be a CEO and live that lifestyle, then you need to hang out with like-minded people that also have those same dreams. Because at 16, nobody's a CEO. But if you all have that same dream of, like, I one day want to be CEO, then that's who you need to hang out with. If you're like, I don't want to be a nobody, I don't want to go anywhere with my life, I just want to do drugs, then find your clique and go that route. But I will tell you that route leads to, like, destruction and nowhere good. And eventually you're going to flip your life and then want to be like, I should hang out with the CEO in high school. The people that wanted to be a CEO in high school.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And, like, if you want... Like, you just hang out with who you want to be, and that's where you'll be. So, that's my advice.
Sometimes it's hard to see what's going on around you when you're in the middle of it. But once you get past it and it's behind you, you can see the difference looking back. And from my own experience, I wish it were different. And I'm sure that a lot of other people can attest to that and would agree with me. Like, not necessarily I wish it was different for me, but, like, for them in their life. Wish they'd done things different. And you can't go back and do it different. You just gotta, once you figure out that's not what you should have been doing, you gotta keep going and do your best to live correctly, the way you should have been all along.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
Till next time.